Hello and welcome to Malls of Globe webinar Reboot Retail episode 6. And it's really pleasure on this weekend and specifically the Mahatma Gandhi Jayanti, 2nd of October. So I would like to welcome all our viewers of Malls of Globe webinar who have been finding this more resourceful. And just to give a brief background, today's chat is little a buddy chat because me and Esa-Matti are going to discuss about the retail happenings and what exactly is happening in other parts of the world. So a global perspective to retail. So I give you a little brief background about myself. I'm Yogesh Huja, founder and CEO of Malls of Globe. And I'm going to moderate this thing and learn more out of Esa-Matti that what are the findings and how people are trying to reboot retail in every part of the world. So today's chat is more about, aiming towards learning the latest happening and from Mr. Harkke, who is a true believer of AI for businesses, there is a quote that I'm going to mention that the measure of intelligence is the ability to change. And in this changing world, when the pandemic has changed some of the part intentionally or unintentionally, we will talk about that how these technology and strategies can actually make impact in rebooting the retail. And before I discuss the details of this thing, just a little background why this webinar, because we know that retail is struggling and the ecosystem has been shaken to a larger extent, and some of the categories of the retail have gone really in a struggling phase. So our theme is categorized into three sections, which is the physical retail challenges, the new strategies, how offline retailers are adopting, and then disruption and tech adoption, how that's helping that thing. So without wasting any time and going forward, I would like to put across my first question and welcome to Mr. Esa-Matti. Is that what are the key challenges that shopping malls in Europe are facing? What are your thoughts in very generic manner?
Thank you very much, Yogesh. I'm very happy to join you. I've been following your webinar, and it has been very interesting and very exciting. Greetings from Helsinki, Finland, everyone. The challenges that we have in Europe are somewhat universal, although retail is very localized. You cannot bring American mall to Finland, but there are similarities and often same owners. There will never be retail like it used to be. When we come out of COVID, retail will be different. People have used so much internet, they have used so many web shops during the pandemic that I think the key is integration. We have to integrate public services, mall services, the whole city. We have to add much more value. It has to be combination of web shops and brick and mortar. It is very interesting. You visited Helsinki recently, and we have 2 brand new malls. The other one is brilliant. It's a smart mall, and it's doing wonderfully. And the other one is already dying after only 12 months. So it means that we should not build any other kind of malls than smart malls.
That's a very good learning that, and how do you differentiate the smart mall and a mall which is like means this terminology is very important for the viewers to understand that why a mall which was built with the same kind of, ingredients, the brick and mortar stuff differs from the other one, and one succeeds and one doesn't succeed.
Again, I come back to the integration. Why and how retail has changed. We have stars that we never had before, like Apple, Louis Vuitton, They have invested in intelligence, AI. They know their customer like a doctor, and they do better than ever. Very loyal customers. Sales are going through the roof. But they have invested billions of euros for that. Now, today's technology, what Malls of Globe is doing, we can bring this same intelligence to each and every store in the mall. You don't have to invest. You can join the platform. And who is joining the platform? It is the brands. They have new ways of testing their promotions and their product offering. Also city and public transit can join. And the stores, but also the maintenance. Everything is integrated, and the shopping experience will be much more tailored. But it is tailored live. For example, if the weather changes, your offering has to change. Or if in the airport you get Indian customers, there has to be staff there that are speaking their language, and the inventory has to be matched.
Right. So what a lot of people say, know your customer, is something, a lot of time when you go and open your bank, so they give you a KYC form and they say that know your customer. But in today's world, I think knowing the customer has to be real time and continuous, because when the behavior, the patterns, the choices are changing, there is some mode of listening with the help of technology that should go to the retailers, specifically when we talk about the retail industry. Coming to a specific part, because you come from a European learning and you have traveled US, you have worked with so many large conglomerates. I would like to learn that, this is a time which nobody has ever imagined. Nobody would have ever thought that people will go back to their homes and the lights will be shut down. How do you think that this revival strategies, how people are thinking, are they thinking right? Because it's almost more than 6-7 months, and specifically in Europe where the pandemic started early, it's almost going to be 9-8 months. So how these revival strategies have worked, and what are your learnings, because you go in and out with these stakeholders? So would like to learn, and if would like to highlight on that.
Yes, it's not only retail. For example, you have children yourself. We see that schools have now moved to home. We have homeschooling more than ever, but it's also being tested. It's also been improving all the time. If I take, for example, grocery shops, in Finland, the web shops of groceries have gone through the roof, about 8,000% increase, which means totally different kind of buildings, totally different kinds of logistics. And again, you have to have other partners for logistics and so forth. But we will see the same in malls. Not everyone wants to go to stores anymore. You might want to have your products delivered to your restaurant where you are waiting, or in a case of airports, you might want the products be delivered to your gate. You don't want to miss your flight. You don't want to get lost. You don't want to be exposed to, for example, COVID. So again, it is a combination of web shops and brick and mortar, but it's you are much more intimate with your customer as well.
That's a new thing. Yeah, please go ahead.
Yeah, and you also mix services. I would like to bring like parking and public transit and other services as well. So that those all are part of the experience, the whole package.
I think being a growth guy, and specifically who understand growth, and the number of 8,000% growth is really remarkable. And those strategies, I think everybody across the world would like to learn. And when you say that it has to be a mix of couple of things, and you need to reach the customer to the last mile, because I'm sitting at my favorite coffee shop, and I might to pick up some regular groceries. So might be that some pickup points can help me out, and I make my purchases without getting exposed to this thing. It's really wonderful thing, and I'm sure with the help of a lot of online tools, people are trying their hands. Uh, so, what do you think that in this pandemic, what strategies are failing and what are not working? Because what can be done, that I'm sure at Malls of Globe we understand, as a tech enabler we understand, but what are failing? I would like to learn that from you.
That's a very good question. It is not the pandemic that's failing us. Pandemic is bringing all these symptoms to the surface, and much more strongly and much faster. We have had, for example, mall apps for maybe 10 years now, thousands of mall apps, but nobody is using them. It is like we are not using different search engines. Everybody is using Google.
Right.
So I think we have now arrived to second generation apps, which will be one app. The same app you are using home and your home city, you want the same app to work when you travel to Spain or you travel to Indonesia or you travel to Hong Kong. So that's your companion, that's your butler that will assist you, whether you are in your own city or you go to a strange city. Recently, very interesting developments are that these apps that are adding value to the retail customer, they are expanding outside the mall as well, the whole city. And if it's a travel destination, all services will be joining this platform, and then people start to trust it. So I see a holistic platform that people are familiar with, that they can use at home as well as when they travel.
All right. And are these retailers and these retail stakeholders or the other stakeholders of economy, maybe government or city, are they really adopting these things fast, or do you think that there are challenges that these people are still struggling to understand and hop onto?
Yes, again, it's the COVID has expedited this process. Traditionally, we have public data that they have been collecting for decades, but they have not really utilized it. But we are seeing that cities and governments are opening their databases of traffic and weather and public transit and so forth, and then we are integrating it with other data streams, and then we are learning much more, and we can tailor the services different times of the day, different seasons, but it is you have to be, so most mall apps so far have been very stagnant, but if you are combining dozens of different data sources, then you can learn and predict the needs of the customer much better. And this we have seen that the governments have not been able to do this themselves, but together with private sector, we are seeing wonderful new developments.
Right, right. You're a true believer of AI, and you understand various data points. You love data. I think that is what I've been, loving and while we interact regularly. How do you want to translate the power of artificial intelligence in a common layman terminology? How AI can really benefit? Because a lot of people are talking AI, but when it comes to the ground reality, a lot of people are far, far away from how it actually brings in real world, the real case. I would like to learn from that.
Well, I also want to advertise, if you haven't seen Yogi's made a sent shock waves in Finland when he was speaking in our AI Monday, and you were demonstrating that the data we are using now it will be exponential growth of data. And what is very interesting is we are seeing different industries, for example, cancer research and shopping, they are using similar algorithms. We are learning from each other. So it's not only the huge volume of data that we will have in the future, but also we will learn to be much more efficient. And this is making those jobs robust. Retail jobs will be robust. Shopping centers will be much more efficient. Inventory, staffing, promotions, maintenance, and logistics, everything will be so much more efficient, and that guarantees robust jobs and retail boom for the future.
And when you say that the future is bright and the future is more robust and beautiful, you're saying that now the technology will power intelligence in these businesses. And when I say I want to talk about the disruption element, how the disruption is coming in this sector, and how this economic revival is on the way. So a lot of people, a lot of governments are trying to actually package something for every industry, a lot of industries, hospitality and all these things. How globally this economic revival is planned, and how stakeholders in this economy, like the other day we were talking about, you mentioned about airports, you mentioned about participation of the city. So would like to understand, how can economic stakeholders bring technology to revive the the retail or whatever, because we talk retail?
It is like I mentioned earlier, education. During this COVID, if you don't have distant learning, if you don't have web schooling, the school stops. So similarly, in retail, we have seen likes of Sears and Macy struggling. And so there is no future without intelligent, smart shopping. So, so if you fight that, then you will not survive. But we have seen brilliant examples of intelligent retail that they are doing better than ever. But again, I would like to say it is a cooperation and combination of public and private data. It is a platform where you collect and mine different, let's say 20 different data sources, and this will produce added value for the consumer. Okay,
and this like brings me to a little back, maybe 50 years behind. There was a time when there was an industrial era when people were really looking for jobs, and a lot of factories were in play, and people were literally looking for living. Then there came the second part, which is informational era, which is 1990s and onward. And then a lot of people started, so I think maintaining their lifestyles, and they were earning good money, and technology was into play. Computers came into the life, and now we are into a social era, which is like now everything goes crazy, whether it is news, whether it is economy, so everything stock. I want to understand in this transformational journey, because why I brought this particular thing to context, that shopping malls came to the light in US, I think 30 years prior to the developing countries like India or Indonesia and Europe. So Europe was early adopter, US was early adopter. Now everybody is on the same page. Everybody is having shopping malls, whether it's a developing country or a developed country. I want to bring down to one very key question, is that the race from this era, how do you think will evolve, and how it will structure as a global story? will it go positive side? Will it go negative side? Will these, because where people want to shop on their mobile phones, what will happen to this brick and mortar? And how do you see the future 20 years or 10 years from now?
It is exciting. Everybody has many channels in their pockets, but this is an opportunity for retailer to give a better service. Of course, we have to be honest and say that since web shops are giving us suggestions, they are doing some of the searches for us, they remember what we bought. Of course, we have to be in same level in brick and mortar. And we have to combine these channels. So the web is supporting our brick and mortar. But there's also an illusion, and this is maybe something that's hindering the development, or people are careful, because we have had technologies very recently, like beacons, that we thought will be the way of the future, but it never lived up to the expectations. But today we have new technologies where we can safely and comfortably measure and manage the retail experience. And I try to be very careful, because privacy issues in US are different from Europe, and are again different from China. But the new technologies do respect each of these privacy protocols. So again, you have to localize the service. But I also only see these wonderful many avenues of social media and web as opportunities for every retailer to be more intimate with the customer, and then more successful relationship.
So strong ties are going to happen in this new era. This is what I could hear out from your, amazing. And, when we talk about consumer behavior, when we talk about why consumer is buying, why not buying, a lot of people have their dashboards, brands keep a deep dive inside. But at the same time, when we go to the ground zero, where the shopping experience is actually there, we see still some old school methods being adopted, and still shopping malls have a very clumsy parking, or maybe parking is not available, and then we have a lot of finding issues that I'm on an airport, which I consider another type of shopping mall, or I'm on a I'm going on a high street. So my point is that discovery is one of the biggest challenge, which is the stuff which a lot of players have solved, from Google to Microsoft to everybody has tried to solve this problem, but without connecting the last point effectively. Last point means the retailer doesn't know that who has passed across from their shop digitally. They know that, okay, a mall would say that, okay, I had 100,000 footfall this weekend, and will give a circular to the retailers. But coming to the point is that how these tech disruptions, or when we talk about, because we both are working in this category and trying to help these retailers, I want to learn, being a chief growth officer, and you understand the tech piece, what is being offered by Malls of Globe versus what is the demand in the developed countries. What is your opinion as a closing remark?
Again, it might be wild that you have to manage these dozens of data streams, but it is possible, and it is required that we are starting to design the shopping experience much earlier. We cannot ignore how they come when they come, and what matter of transportation they are using, which entrance they are using. We have to manage it all, and it has to be managed live, and it has to be very intimately tailored. It is like you are inviting somebody to your home. You are planning for the dinner, and you are making it ready for that particular unique friend of yours. And this is possible and still respect people's privacy.
Thank you very much, Mr. Esa-Matti. And with this, we come to the end of this webinar and more of a chit chat, buddy chat, I would say. And we would keep on continuing this effort of enlightening these learnings, these experiences, and trying to solve the major hiccups and issues that people are right now having in their mind and they are not able to talk to people. We are all open. We are all very receptive to listen to what your challenges are and how technology can help you in solving that thing. Until then, we take a leave and goodbye and have a nice weekend. Thank you, Mr. Harkke. Thank you.
Thank you.